The Tour Auto Optique 2000 is a unique event. During 5 stages, the competitors cross through the most beautiful regions of France and compete on timed special stages, on closed and secure roads, as well as in some circuit racing. The days are managed to include some splendid locations in which to share gastronomy lunches. The best parts of France welcomed the most beautiful cars in the world from 1951 to 1973. The Tour Optique 2000 is an extension of the Tour de France automobile, the modern test that was created in 1899 and disappeared in 1986. And this year marks the 25th anniversary of the event, reinvented by Patrick Peter and his team for the delight of the gentlemen of elegance, sport and, of course, cars.
La formule a pris dès la première année.
The formula worked in the first year. We juxtaposed the competition and the regularity, and it's the key to success. We grew from 130 to 150 to 180 competitors. And for 10 years now, the competitors begin gathered under the prestige dome of the Grand Palais the day before departure. The show is just amazing. There are almost 250 exceptional cars sheltered under the steel arches designed by Gustave Eiffel. The Parisians feast while the drivers hone their cars and the officials conduct the necessary technical inspections and safety checks. The event at the Grand Palais is also an opportunity to meet the stars, see the elegance and, of course, the familiar faces of the Tour Auto Optique 2000, like Anthony Beltoise, who takes part this year in his Corvette C3. For him, the event is inescapable.
It's
a passionate reunion, beautiful cars. People love their cars, lovely landscapes. We discover fantastic places in France, and it leaves us all with some incredible memories. At the Grand Palais, there is also a cocktail party, during which the guests can admire cars that will compete. It's also an evocation of the period during which the Paris Auto Show was held here. It's 5:30 in the morning, Tuesday 19th of April, when the first drivers arrive looking somewhat fatigued after a short night.
I had a good night, but I'm in from California, so the time difference is not too good. I'm just talking to my wife, she's about to go to bed. So there's a 9-hour difference for me, but a bit of fresh air, open car, open roads, perfect.
By 1:30, the site is rapidly broken down. Before the early Parisian traffic jams and while the sun is just rising, the cars escape to the castle of Courance, where they will take the official start of the Tour Auto Optique 2000. For the second year running, the beautiful 17th century Courance Castle Park in the Essonne welcomes the official start of the race. In this anniversary year, Patrick Peter decided to honour 2 iconic models of the race, the Jaguar Mark II and the Ferrari 250. One of them even wears the name Tour de France, who ran in 1957 and returns today.
E questa fu segnata proprio il barone de Portago.
It was designed for the Baron de Portago and she raced in the Tour de France. It was part of the team that ran Willy Marais, Olivier de Gendebien and Lucien Bianchi. This is a slightly different car from the 250 because its chassis is a little longer and was specifically manufactured to customer demand.
Davano I clienti per correre.
On the liaison, competitors pass by the Fontainebleau. The obelisk marks the start of the road to the south. During the competition, the classic cars will cross many times the famous National 7 route for a descent to the Riviera over the 5 days. Sens is the first appointment with the stopwatch, a timed trial in the middle of rapeseed flowers. And like each year, it's a great start for all. For Richard Denyu and Eric JOYAU, this first stage is already problematic.
Oui, dans la chicane et
Yes,
la
in the
deuxième
chicane,
botte
the second
de
bale of hay.
paille.
What happened?
Bah,
We
on
arrived
est
a little
arrivé
too
un peu vite,
fast
mais
and it was
c'était
too
très serré.
tight, a little too optimistic on the part of my
Voilà, un
co-driver.
peu trop d'optimisme de la part de mon pilote.
A regular of the Tour Auto Optic 2000, Gérard Holtz shares his Alfa Romeo Giulietta Sprint this year with his son Antoine.
Ah, grand bonheur. Mais déjà, on a le beau
Up
temps.
before dawn,
Les gens
the
sur le bord
drivers
de la route
have a
sont
big
contents de
day
nous voir.
and are
La voiture
relieved
qui
to
marche
arrive
bien,
at the
très, très
Cistercian
bonne
Abbey of
expérience.
Fontenay.
Vivement la suite.
Built nearly 900 years ago, the all-Roman-style buildings were named a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, and it's within this framework that the competitors enjoy their first lunch of the 25th Tour Auto Optic 2000. Whether a regularity driver, connoisseur, or favourite to win the race, it's impossible to remain insensitive to the magic of this place. Heading in the direction of the Duc de Bourgogne in the afternoon for the first race at the Dijon-Crénois circuit. On this superb track that overlooks the city, the first real clash between the top names from the competition Category 4. Among them hides the likely winner of this year's Tour Auto. As usual, the Shelby Cobras are a little less comfortable on track and battle hard with the Ford GT40, which is designed for this track. But it's the Great British Jaguar E-Type of Lagenard Boucher that tips his long blue cap at the end of this first day. It's in Bonn that the first grueling day finished for the drivers and the race against time begins for the mechanics in the service park under the late afternoon sunset.
Ma chérie, tu pourras dire au moins que tu m'as vu frotter la voiture.
330 kilometres lie ahead to take competitors from Bonn to Lyon and through to Mâconnais. Once is not custom. The day begins with another track session. Early in the morning, it's madness as the public arrive in their droves to admire the old-timers at the Brest circuit. Just moments ago, we spoke of the Cobra and GT40 being iconic cars in the Tour Auto. And here in the paddock, the owners exchange important information.
Ah oui, elle est fabuleuse et elle a très très
The
bonne
GT40 is really fabulous, and the good news is that thanks to him, I just got into it, and I thought it was impossible with my long legs. I'm 1.93 m, but with the bubble on the roof and the modified seat, I got in, so that's good. Here's my car, and probably the next.
It happens all the time that people want to try your car?
Yeah, especially tall people like us, because it's a very, it's very close cockpit, there's not a lot of room, so yeah, sometimes quite difficult to fit.
The abbey of the day is Benedictine. For the first time in the history of the Tour Auto, the roadshow make a pause in Cluny. Wednesday afternoon, there are 2 special stages crossing through vineyards in the region, and the drivers find it simply stunning in their words. The Tour Auto Optique 2000 attracts more and more foreign competitors each year. The American contingent was strong this year, and their passion for exceptional cars is always the same. Look closely at this Jaguar E-Type. It's simply unique, built at the time to win the Le Mans 24 Hours.
Ils ont pris un scientifique pour redessiner le corps.
It took scientists to redraw the body because they wanted to fight Ferrari. They saw the 250 GTO in front, but they thought they could beat Ferrari because the Jaguar D-Type won Le Mans 3 times.
A gagné Le Mans 3 fois.
The Hall of Tony Garnier is the venue this evening, close to the confluence of the Rhône and the Swan. Thursday morning, although the night was short, it doesn't stop to be stylish on the Tour Auto Optique 2000. I never go out without my tie. It's a habit. I always drive with my tie, but it doesn't stop me tightening the bolts. And some spent the night getting their hands dirty.
On a eu un petit problème, un petit souci de flecteur, la pièce qui raccorde.
We had a small problem with the flector, the part that connects the gearbox and the drive shaft. That deteriorated and it damaged in the welding. Normally we should finish, but with a maximum penalty points.
Tout à l'heure, mais à mon avis, on va prendre un max de points de pénalité.
Time to go again. Today there is no circuit, but 3 stages. The first stage took place at Rive-du-Gier. We're still in the Loire, but with the topography slowly changing as we approach the mountains and a historic stage in motorsport. Saint-Bonnet-le-Foy, the name resonates in the minds of all true rally fans. The small village is well known on the Monte Carlo Rally, and it's a place where the openers of the Tour Auto Optique 2000 feel at home.
Ça c'est vrai, ça c'est vrai. C'est ce qui est la beauté de la vie.
Now that's real, and that's the beauty of life. You come to a place and we remember things that happened here 30 years ago. We know the people, they recognise you, and that's the beauty of life. There are thousands of places like this where I feel at home, but Saint-Bonnet-le-Foy, it really is a mythical place.
Saint-Bonnet-le-Foy, c'est un lieu mythique, c'est une icône mythique.
Saint-Bonnet, on l'a fait dans d'autres occasions, mais moi je trouve que c'est très bien. Et ce que j'aime dans le Tour Auto, c'est
Saint-Bonnet, we passed here on other occasions, but what I like in the Tour Auto, the perfect success of Patrick Peter, is to find a state of mind. It's not all about a revival, we must find something, and this is the case. The roads are superb and we come back to a legendary place. The circuits and the stages are a special recipe.
Des circuits très connus, des spéciales connues et intéressantes, c'est une belle recette.
Harry Vatanen and François Chatriot, the last winner of the Tour de France Automobile, were present on the Tour Auto, like true American stars. Both drivers shared plenty of time with the public while still taking the role to open seriously. After Saint-Bonnet, the rally continues on historical roads, regrouping in Saint-Jean-en-Rian. This is where we find another famous BMW driver, Jean-Claude Basso, who is faithful to the brand, driving a dream car from the 1970s. This is a car that has won practically everything, and today she remained legendary for BMW fans. It looks like she's always existed, because when I see how much she is loved on the roadside, it's impressive. The final stage of the day is the climb up Col du Bouvant. a path made from dozens of hairpins and mountainside passages. All against the clock, it's a true hill climb. And the reward comes on the other side of the ridge with the descent through the valley by the Col de la Machine en liaison. One of the magical moments of this 25th edition of the Tour Auto Optique 2000. Valence welcomes the roadshow at the end of the third stage. The descent continues south and the competitors cross the National 7 several times during the day. With the scenery of vineyards and the evocative names of cities that lie ahead, it certainly feels like the south. In the final 2 days of the Tour Auto, it's the tradition that drivers of the regularity category start first. To stop and dwell on this exercise is difficult. In this category, there is no way to beat the clock. It's a tame stage. Competitors must respect an average time throughout the stage, and it's no easy task.
C'est quelque chose sur cette épreuve-là d'assez complexe parce qu'on n'a aucun
On this test, it's quite complex because we have no modern instruments.
Donc on ne travaille qu'avec des chronomètres à main.
We only work with hand timing and the needle and hectometric counter of the car.
Hectométrique de la voiture. Donc c'est assez complexe.
It's complex because normally we have modern electronic instruments that simplify things. We have to be sharp.
Qui simplifie les choses, mais ça reste pointu aussi, il faut être rapide.
Historically, past winners of the regularity stages are the French and Swiss duo Melon and Stevenus, ahead of the Nicule family. But both Alpine A110s were strong, challenged by the SUCARI family. They are Argentinian and compete on board a splendid Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta, and since the start of the Tour Auto Optique 2000, play cat and mouse ahead in the regularity stages. The Ardèche is very close now, and the rally crosses through Entraigues. For those who don't know, there is a restaurant here that is a must for motor racing enthusiasts. Since the good old days, this place has been a landmark for rally drivers, and it's become a tradition that the owners, the Joanny family, offer an apple pie for the Monte Carlo rally and a strawberry pie for the Tour Auto. To me, these are all rally memories. The R5 Turbo, Ragnotti, André, Michel Mouton, all met up here. It's fantastic. It's a mythical place for us to visit. The Tour Auto is also an art form and a feast for the eyes. Imagine 250 exceptional cars in the gorges of Ardèche. That really is plenty to celebrate on this event. And in this year's 25th anniversary, the Tour Auto found the recently reconditioned, sublime LINDEMANN circuit. Many drivers have been thrilled to discover this circuit made of climbs, descents and blind corners. It's a real pleasure to drive. LINDEMANN is a demanding track for the transmission. English driver Beverly Humphreys learnt it the hard way on the road to Marseille. Their Shelby breaks down and they're forced to repair it in the middle of nowhere. Unfortunately, it's a small rubber seal that's broken, and we're trying to find one in the middle of France. The Cobra finally arrives in Marseille, but late at night. The final day of the Tour Auto 2016 is very long because to mark the 20th anniversary, Patrick Peter decided to include 2 night stages to battle in the dark. The teams have to be careful with the mechanics. Even before Cannes, there is the Paul Ricard circuit. Alternating between tracks and stages is a little summary of Guy Fréquelin's life. Yes, I've done the rally, the cross-country rally, the Le Mans 24 Hours Endurance. The dimension of race, I've truly touched everything. And I've driven all kinds of cars, and it's really nice to drive a parallel. The stage bypassing Saint-Bon is splendid, and the descent into the Provençal landscape is even more so. On the last circuit, we begin to see more clearly the diverse categories. In the regularity category, there are 3 teams with less than 3 seconds between them leaving the paddock. There is still everything to play for the Argentinian SUCARI as they leave the Castellet.
I think he won in the last 2 or 3 years. He's French, so he has an advantage in the sense that he can prepare the car more than us. But of course, we like to compete and we love the Tour.
In the GHI category, there still remains the 2 night stages. Florent Jean and Philippe Talabar will never be beaten and will win with their Ferrari 308 GR4 Michelato. Meanwhile, the performance index class has been taken by Jean-François Peñard and Mathieu Velin on board their Porsche 356 Pre-A. In the competition category, Jean-Pierre Lajonard still has a fairly comfortable lead ahead of Ludovic Caron, while Sean Lynn, winner of the 2014 edition, saw his hopes go up in smoke after a few laps.
I had a great start at Paul Ricard, and in the lead, pulling the gap, and my coil went, so the electricity went, and so unfortunate. And literally, this is for a £50 part.
In the support paddock of Le Boca, tension is building for the Caron team, who need additional headlights on the Cobra. The cars are beautifully displayed one last time before they slip off to the Croisette for the ultimate break ahead of the night loop. The day falls slowly when competitors leave Cannes and head towards the Col de Vence for the first of the 2 night stages. For nearly 4 hours, the hinterland will resonate to the sound of the engines. It is in these 2 final stages that the Tour Auto Optique 2000 realises its epilogue. The finish is in Roquesteron, a little village in the mountains that no one will have time to admire in the night. Jean-Pierre Lajonard, driving his Jaguar E-Type, smiles. He has won his 3rd Tour Auto ahead of Ludovic Caron.
C'est terminé, c'est vrai qu'on avait une petite angoisse parce que l'erreur est toujours
possible. It's over. We were a little anxious because an error is always possible. I have nothing left, but I feel I've done it very quickly. It was really fun. I've not yet fully realised. I thought the race was still going tomorrow, but it's well and truly over. It's time to gently return to the Croisette and end the rally. The Sucari family won the regularity after a great week.
Well, of course it's very nice, and it's very nice to win in a Ferrari, you know, because this car won. When the race was in period, this car won already.
For the first time in history, the Tour Auto ends at night. But the experience was so popular amongst the competitors, you can bet that next year the final arrival will again be witnessed by their headlights.